On today's episode of the Duck Zone 503 podcast, we're going to be previewing the Oregon football offense going into 2023. This is part 2 of the offensive preview where I preview the wide receivers, offensive linemen, and tight end position of the Oregon Ducks football team. I'm your host, Dominiqk Peterson. This is the Duck Zone 503 podcast where we talk all things Oregon football, baby. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Duck Zone 503 podcast, talking all things Oregon football, with your host, Dominiqk Peterson. Let's go.
Welcome into today's edition of the Duck Zone 503 podcast. The date is Monday, August 21st, 2023, and I am happy to be with you folks. On our previous episode, which was part 1 of covering the offense, we previewed the new offensive coordinator change. Will Stein comes in, Kenny Dillingham's off to ASU. We talked about that. Everyone's favorite position, guys, the quarterbacks. We previewed that position group and the running backs, which all seem to be very strong going into 2023. Now we're going to go ahead and preview wide receivers, offensive linemen, and tight end. It's going to be fun. So look, guys, I am just spoiling you guys on this Monday. I was going to put out just part 1. But you know what, guys? I feel like grinding away today because Oregon football is officially 12 days away from being kicked off, so it gave me that extra energy to give you guys a part 2 for the offense. Will I do that for the defensive side of the ball? I don't know. Maybe if this video gets, say, 25 likes, and if we reach 815 subscribers by Wednesday's episode, I'll do it. Let's call it a bet. All right, guys. Week 1 versus Portland State. I'll be there. Will you? Big question. If you won't, don't worry, I got the vlogs coming away. Vlogs turning away on this channel. I'll be giving you the full game day experience through the vlog, the iDom. Everybody knows Josh Pate does it the iJosh. I call it the iDom, people. Let's go. I'm going to bring you along to each game I go to. I'm also going to be in Seattle for that road game. I always like to try to make at least one road game, so I'll be there. Now, if you want to stay locked in with us here on the Duck Zone 503 podcast, go smash that like, subscribe button down below right now. Of course, tell your friends and family. Shows weekly, Monday and Wednesday, every week. Let's go, people. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into it. I'm not going to wait any longer. We're not going to wait, okay? Part 2 of previewing this Oregon offense in 2023. Let's go ahead and do the wide receivers. Now, what a season it was for this group under former offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham. Opened up this Oregon passing offense and the likes we have not seen in a while. I mean, these young wide receivers, guys, really showed out. And I do not expect much to change for the Ducks this season with a returning quarterback in a similar offensive scheme. Top wide receiver Troy Franklin returns alongside with some new additions via the transfer portal and recruiting. Of course, there's going to be a couple departures from last season. We live in this new transfer portal age, so let's talk about them. One guy that kind of hurts, in my opinion, Dante Thornton. He's out to Tennessee. Now, this one in particular kind of hurts for me out of all the transfer that transferred out. If you would make a whole list of all the transfer that transferred out this season, Dante Thornton hurts for me because I think, in my personal opinion, that Dante Thornton's an excellent wide receiver, lots of range, lots of size, was very highly recruited right there with Troy Franklin when he came in. So I think, he put up some decent numbers for the Ducks. Nothing that really makes your eyes pop. But after seeing Troy Franklin develop into that wide receiver 1-star role, I think he really wanted to go somewhere else and shine. And I don't doubt he will. I mean, that Tennessee offense, we've seen what it was. Number 1 in the country last year. He's going to be there as a pass catcher in the SEC, and his name's going to shine. So that one kind of hurts for the Ducks. And I think we're going to see the future go on as he becomes a star there in Tennessee. Tennessee lost, a couple of their wide receivers. Now he gets an opportunity, and seeing Troy Franklin, the guy he came in with, kind of take that star role now. Now he bounces out to Tennessee to the SEC. Best of luck, Dante Thornton. Next, we got Seven McGee, who transferred to Jackson State. McGee battled through injuries and never really seemed to feel consistently at Oregon. I honestly wish him the best because when we did see him here and there, he was pretty electric. Then Isaiah Crocker, Isaiah Brevard, and Caleb Chapman all transferred from the program as well and are finding new schools to play for. I've not yet found a school, so best luck to those guys. I don't think any of those guys are necessarily big losses for the Ducks, as none of them really had consistent production on the field last season. I guess Dante Thornton, you could say he had a little bit here and there, but overall, guys, not much loss, not much drop off. We got Troy Franklin right here, as you can see on the graphic. And look, I called it before the season of 2022. There wasn't many of you watching this podcast in the preseason last year, but look, this guy, Troy Franklin, was my breakout player for 2022. I called it. And I just knew it with this pro-style offense coming in. And what the kid, man, Troy Franklin, what he's shown in 2021. He made a really good catches against Ohio State on the road when I was there. And it caught my eye. And for the rest of the season, I was like, man, this kid's going to be something special. And 2022 was definitely his come-out year, and come out he did. Last season, 61 catches, 891 yards, 9 touchdowns. A great season, and I know he's going to have an even bigger year this season. When you have a year like that, guys, your confidence level just goes up. You're training, and because you know you're going to have a big year this upcoming year. If you just resemble that year for one more year, you're a top first-round pick. So entering 2023, Franklin has the chance to etch his name on a national stage in college football and possibly have his first 1,000-yard receiving season. PFF has Franklin listed as the 7th most draftable wide receiver entering 2023, so he will definitely have some big expectations coming into this year. With Heisman contender Bo Nix at quarterback for his second straight year, I have no doubt that Troy Franklin can put up another potential career statistical output. I would even say that there's a legit chance that Franklin could get into the Biletnikoff Award discussion and watch his NFL draft rise going into 2024. Let's talk about Chris Hudson, guys. Another returning wide receiver, a very solid 2022 campaign, but I know Chris Hudson himself knows that he has the potential to do even better. Second on the team with 44 catches for 472 yards, but 0 touchdowns on the year for Chris. I know for a fact he's going to want at least one in 2023. He has a tendency to drop some deep balls at times and has yet to show Duck fans his full potential on the field, in my humble opinion. Go watch the kids film, man. He is a dog on the field. Could be a potential breakout year in 2023 for Chris Hudson. We've seen it with Troy Franklin. Will it be for Hudson? We shall see. There's a bunch of talent in this year's Oregon room, thanks to the transfer portal. The Ducks loaded up in this year's wide receiver room. Due to greater competition at Hudson's position this year, it's going to be interesting to watch if he has, enough production on the field to beat out these guys and get on the field, or is he going to see his starting role get beat out by a transfer? That's one thing I'll definitely be watching. Tez Johnson is a new addition to the team here. One of those players that Hudson will be challenging for playing time is new Troy transfer Tez Johnson. Fun fact, if you didn't know this already, guys, Tez Johnson is the brother-in-law to Bo Nix. Can you believe that? So, we got down family ties coming into the Ducks roster, thanks to no other than Bo Nix. Bam, family ties. Johnson was listed as the second highest rated wide receiver in college football, trailing only behind Ohio State's Marvin Harrison Jr. via PFFF. Guys, that is insane. Second highest rated wide receiver in all of college football. Marvin Harrison Jr. is just an absolutely freak athlete on the field. So if you're coming right behind him and you played for Troy, this is an absolutely baller get for Dan Lanning and the Ducks. Last season at Troy, 56 catches, 863 yards, 4 touchdowns. Career numbers between 2020 and 2022, 141 catches, 1,800 yards, 8 touchdowns. Great statistical output through his career, guys. Wanted to point this out as well. In 2021, Tez had more catches than he did in 2022. 67 catches in 2021, only had 56 catches in 2022. Well, in 2021, Tez had 128 less yards than he did in 2022. So what does that mean, guys? I know I'm spitting a lot of numbers at you. You're like, huh? Well, Tez was incredibly efficient with the ball in his hands. That's called doing more with less on the field. Less catches, more yards. Efficiency, guys. He had less touches, and he put more output out there on the field, more production. That is a great sign of a great player who can develop really quickly. And if you watch his speed and quickness on that 70-yard patch catch and play in the spring game, and he has comparison of Dak, man. I don't say that lightly. I don't compare guys to D'Anthony Thomas lightly, but when he caught that pass, that's something we just haven't seen at Oregon for a little while. Man is shifty and really fast. I'm excited for Tez Johnson. Now, course, he's not the biggest guy at all. He's only 5'10", 150 pounds. But look, guys, small, shifty, and super fast guy. That's where Oregon births guys like that. So come on to Oregon. Why not Oregon, right? He'll be looking to take on Chris Hudson's position in 2023. That friendly competition right there should only make both players better. I can't see why not. Who best man wins. They're only going to get better. So starting, I don't know who's going to start week 1. Could he start mid-week 1? But this is going to be fun competition to see because both these players are very talented coming in. All right, let's move on. Super excited to announce Alabama transfer Trayshawn Holden coming into the program as he looks to be another big-time splash from the transfer portal this season. Holden had a fairly impressive year at Alabama in 2022. He put up 25 catches, 331 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He did get injured, okay, so some things happened, and then, there's a bunch of guys ready to play, and if that guy's successful, it was hard to get back on the field for Holden. So, a new opportunity, a new breath of fresh air. We're getting one of the best wide receivers in the country that came from one of the best programs in the country. Standing 6'3", 195 pounds, Holden has everything you want in a wide receiver to be successful. Long, rangy pass catcher that has rockets to take off down the field if he gets an opening. I'm going to predict that we will see Trayshawn Holden as our starting Z receiver, replacing last year's production of Chase Cota and Dante Thornton. No doubt, man, I'm excited to see this guy. I've seen him, break some tackles on the field in the spring game, and I get it's just a spring game, but man, this guy looks to be the real deal. Let's go up next. Gary Bryant Jr., a late addition to the group here. USC transfer Gary Bryant Jr. was a nice cherry on top to the exquisite transfer portal class that Lanning & Co. put together. Bryant Jr. had a stellar 2021 class for the Trojans, catching as many as 7 touchdowns. But in 2022, his role quickly diminished as he saw the likes of Jordan Addison, Brendan Rice, and Mario Williams take over roles over him. And I don't think that has anything to do against Bryant Jr. I don't. I just think that USC has really, really good wide receiver room, and it was hard to see the field. The only thing is, though, is I got to ask now, so does Oregon. You look at Oregon's wide receiver room with all these wide receivers around him, it's going to be hard for Bryant Jr. to try to crack that starting lineup here. I do see him as a solid rotational player or a guy that can step up barring injuries. I always say this, guys. You can never have too many wide receivers. You can never have too many wide receivers because of injury. Happens all the time in football. We see it with specialty players. Bryant Jr. will definitely be a nice addition to this wide receiver room. Now let's move it on here. The gem of the 2023 class, 5-star signee Jurion Dickey is finally on the roster after a long wait from Duck fans. Myself included, I would have loved to see Jurion in the spring game, but look, he was still finishing up high school, guys. Standing 6'3", 210 pounds, Jurion is already at great size coming in as a freshman. The elite prospect out of high school finished the 2023 class listed as the second best wide receiver and 18th best player in the nation overall according to 247 Sports Composite ranking. So this guy is the real deal. Go watch his huddle. Highly recommended that you watch him, guys. Scouts compare this young man to the likes of A.J. Brown. Okay, Chris Singletary, scout at 247 Sports, says this about Jurion Dickey. He has projection, first round pick projection, out the gates, coming out of high school, okay? Comparison, A.J. Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles. He says this here. Checking in at a verified 6'2" and 206 pounds, this multi-sport athlete who also plays basketball and competes in track and field has excellent overall athleticism. He has more than ample length with his 78-inch wingspan and 33-inch arms. With muscular chiseled frame, he does not have any bad weight on him. Possesses very good explosiveness and speed, having a 37-inch vertical and 4.58 40 time, and are both verified. Good change of direction as well as the ability to get in and out of his cuts easily. Does a good job of sticking his feet in the ground and pivoting on routes when he is dropping his weight to make his move. He has soft hands and doesn't fight the ball well. Very natural in catching the ball and making a football move. Uses excellent body control. We're going up for 50-50 balls. He wins these contested catches the majority of the time, where he is able to outjump most defenders. Nice job using his size, quick feet, and power to get off the ball when he is pressed by the defensive back and keeping the timing on his routes. Does a good job using his speed to stretch the field, as well as showcasing run after catch ability after catches. More than a willing blocker who is aggressive when blocking and can stay on his feet to control the defender. Dickey is a talented player that has 3-phase ability when playing on special teams as a returner. Safety is where he had 4 interceptions and a receiver posting 1,300 yards receiving along with 19 touchdowns last year. He brings a lot of ability, skill, and intelligibles to the game. He looks to be a multi-year starter and an all-conference performer. So guys, a lot of hype coming in. It will be interesting to see if Jurion will be able to carve out a role for himself on the team this year. It appears that the talent, to do so and to beat out virtually anyone on this team besides Troy Franklin, he has. He has the talent, he has the skills, he has the intangibles, he has all the hype to beat out, in my mind, virtually anybody besides Troy Franklin. I think Troy Franklin's wide receiver run, but this guy has the ceiling to be that. Now, he's a freshman. He just came in. He didn't really do the spring program, so how fast does he digest the playbook? How fast can he get on the field? He's got all the talent in the world, but how well do you know the playbook? You can't throw him out there if he doesn't know the playbook and he just got here. So that's going to be a big thing to watch. But trust me, if I think through the mid-season, let's say week 6, 7, 8, I think if Jurion will get it together, we'll start seeing him on the field, man. This guy's going to be dangerous for years to come. All right, some other notable wide receivers here. We got Kyler Casper. Kyler Casper is the one guy in this room that is unique in his own way. Okay, guys, his body frame, leaping ability, and speed will surprise you in a major weapon and he's a major weapon for the Ducks in this wide receiver room. 6'5", 197 pounds. That is a body type that you just don't see in this wide receiver room. Casper can easily be that sneaky weapon for the Ducks this season. Used for jump balls and passes against defensive backs that may be a disadvantage matchup against Casper in goal line situations, right? A very young player and maybe still developing. If you remember, he was originally classified in this 2023 cycle, but he reclassified in the 2022 cycle shortly after committing to the Ducks. Some prep players have the ability to do that in special situations, involving credits and admissions, stuff like that. Now, I wouldn't expect Casper to start this year at all, but with, already that year of experience in the Lanning system, big things are coming on the way with Kyler Casper, and he has the size and the speed and the ability and the skills to get on the field and be a difference maker. And I especially think if coaching staff has some good ideas here, use him in jump ball situations on the goal line. I mean, this man can jump up and go get it at 6'5". Moving on here, we got Ashton Kozart, one of 2 highly talented signees that Oregon brought in this 2023 class. Jurion Dickey was one of them. Here comes Ashton Kozart, who stands 6'3.5", 193 pounds, and finished listed as the 31st best wide receiver in the country, according to 247 Sports. The 4-star wide receiver out of Texas has elite footwork and talent, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to get a role in 2023. Just with all the talent, all the players ahead of him, it's going to be tough to see Kozart get on the field unless, multiple injuries stack up. But never the doubt, that's not to say this guy has all the talent and all the skill, and he's a great route runner. I mean, this guy can put you on your heels if you're a DB. Watch out for Ashton Kozart. Let's keep it going here. Josh Delgado. Okay, many of you guys probably forgot about this guy in this crowded wide receiver room. Josh Delgado didn't see much play time in 2022, even with less talent in the room than this year's, right? There's a lot more talent now. And I'm not sure how Delgado will see the field in 2023. Just being honest with you guys. Now, we've seen him here, in the Mario Cristobal days come on the field. But, shout out to him for not transferring. He's going to stick it out and keep competing. Another guy to talk about here is Justice Lowe, okay? Special teams is where, we saw most of Lowe's production last year. The hometown kid, almost had that nice grab in the end zone during the spring game. We remember that, but it got knocked away at the last second. I was like, But, he's shown flashes of talent. I'm not sure how much opportunity he's going to get here on the field, but, flashes of talent. I mean, look at this picture, guys. If you're watching the podcast or listening to it and you can't see right now, I'm showing a picture of Justice Lowe in practice. making a one-hand catch, man. This is looking real nice. And I'm not sure, I obviously don't know if he came down with it. We all seen him almost make that nice one-handed catch in the spring game, and he didn't come down with it. But hopefully he came down with this one, man. This looks real nice. Not sure I was going to see the field. He's a talented wide receiver, came in. He's a hometown kid from Lake Oswego High School. It'd be nice to see him make some plays on special teams maybe this year. That would be cool. Overall, guys, I think the position, overall, this wide receiver group led by Troy Franklin looks to be one of the most talented and deepest wide receiver rooms that we have ever seen in Oregon. I'm just being honest. I can't remember how many talented wide receivers we had in this room at a time like this. This is pretty crazy. I mean, Oregon is not known for producing elite wide receivers, and this year we have we definitely have one NFL wide receiver, maybe two and even three, maybe even four with Tez Johnson, man. I mean, I'm talking Trayshawn Holden, Tez Johnson, if Chris Hudson can be maybe that fourth guy, along with Troy Franklin. I mean, 4 NFL wide receivers paired with Dominiqk, who's an NFL quarterback. We replaced a lot on the O-line, but man, we're going to talk about that O-line here in a second. But this wide receiver room is exciting, no doubt. Now, barring an injury from the Ducks, especially at the quarterback position, knock on wood, don't expect any major drop-offs here. Your leading wide receiver returns. You add some major playmakers to the room via the transfer portal. A 5-star, a 4-star through recruiting. Doesn't hurt either. Wide receiver is a definite strength to this team heading into 2023. Speaking of strengths, guys, do you know what the strength of this podcast is? It's you, the viewers, guys. It's you, the viewer. And I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. For your guys' ears and for your guys' eyes on the podcast. Without you, none of this would be possible. So if you guys want to go show your support today for the show and grab your very own special piece of official Duck Zone 503 podcast merch, well, here it is for you right here. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Dominiqk Peterson, host of the Duck Zone 503 podcast, where we talk all things Oregon football. Very excited to announce we just launched our very first merch store. Men's and women's t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, stickers, phone cases, mugs, and cups are all sold at duckzone503.creator-spring.com. If you want to go grab one of those today, that's duckzone503.creator-spring.com. Store link will be in the description below as well. Oh yeah, store link right there in the description. You guys know where to go get it. All kinds of merch for you. So here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. The quarterback is easily the most position on the field. There's no doubt about it. But what would that second most important position be? I'm going to let you guess. And if you guessed it right, congratulations, because it's offensive line, baby. Offensive line. Okay, you can have the most elite quarterback standing back there, gunslinging it all day, talking about Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, don't care who you have back there. But if you don't have a good offensive line protecting that quarterback, he ain't really going to do much, folks. I'm telling you that. That's a big reason why Bo Nix was able to have such a great season last year, because that O-line, guys, only gave up 8 sacks total. Or excuse me, 1 sack total in the first 8 games. 1 sack in the first 8 games. That is absolutely unheard of. Now, by the way, they played Georgia in week 1. Yeah, that defensive line. So allowing 1 sack is not that bad. Now, out of any position group on the Ducks team, the offensive line will lose most of the starting production from last year's stellar squad. They're having to replace 4 out of 5 starters. Offensive lineman coach Adrian Clem is out to the New England Patriots. He's, up and coming young offensive line coach Lineman Terry is in. So that's a loss as well. A positional coach that was very successful here at Oregon through recruiting and on the field results. Now you're bringing up a young guy, an up-and-comer, exciting, but not proven. So we're going to see how Lineman Terry does and how he handles this, this massive overhaul. 4 out of 5 starters is not easy. So we're going to see how he does. So far, so good, right? Especially in the transfer portal. He's been getting busy in there, inheriting a bunch of talent through recruiting, transfer portal. He's doing a good job. So let's go, Lineman Terry. Depth and talent lost at the offensive line. A bunch of new faces coming in. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple monsters up front for the Ducks in 2023. First off, we're going to look at who we lost. Okay, so there's some departures to the NFL draft. We had a stellar offensive line. That means guys are getting drafted. Alex Forsyth, Ryan Walk, TJ Bass, and Big Salah. Mesala Alamuvu Laulu. I'm trying to say it for you folks. They all went and had their hand in the NFL. Transfers out, Jonah Miller didn't find a home. Cole Young doesn't have a home yet. Bram Walden went to Arizona State, going with Kenny Dillingham over there. And Dawson Jaramillo is going to North Carolina State. And he'll fit just right in with that mold, let me tell you. But coming back, we got Jackson Powers Johnson right here on the graphic. I've had him pulled up here for a while now. If we're going to talk about this Ducks offensive line 2023, we're going to have to start with its leader. You look at him, Jackson Powers Johnson, who looks to replace Alex Forsythe at center. Powers Johnson comes in as the highest graded interior offensive lineman in all of college football, according to Pro Football Focus, PFF. Jackson is the only and lone starter returning on this Ducks O-line from the previous season, bringing a mix of experience and talent that will be crucial to carry on the success of last season. Jackson was also reportedly played a key role on building camaraderie and chemistry throughout this offseason with this new Duck group, something that will be vital if they want to duplicate the efficiency of the previous season. Going on here to Josh Connolly Jr., the Ducks' highest-rated recruit in 2022. According to 247 Sports, Josh Connolly Jr. played a very small role in the Ducks for his freshman campaign. Playing mostly in that goal line situation, the Kenny Dillingham 14J package, Connolly Jr. was able to get his feet wet and see some action in his first year of college. Now he aims to take an even bigger role in 2023. The success of the Oregon O-line will heavily rely on Josh Connolly Jr. this year. The Oregon offense was very efficient and effective on what they wanted to do, granted their proficient O-line play last season. With the door open for Connolly, it's vital for him to play with that 5-star level of consistency for Oregon to reach the goals they want to reach. I would go so far to say, guys, that Josh Connolly Jr. is Oregon's major X factor on offense this year. They're wildly successful, especially with that offensive line. If Josh Connolly can be what he's supposed to be, watch out, guys. This offense ain't going nowhere. It might even be better than last season's. Stephen Jones. Stephen Jones missed most of that 2022 season with an injury, but returns as one of the most experienced players here on the O-line. He spent his 5 years playing tackle and guard, and I think in 2023, he'll be playing mostly guard there, given the additions of tackle Johnny Cornelius, and then you got Josh Connolly Jr. there at the other tackle spot, so he's going to be a solid piece at guard. Very experienced player coming back from injury, so nice addition coming back here in 2023. Johnny Cornelius, I just mentioned him. Let's talk about him. He joins the Ducks, considered, one of the best right tackles in all of college football. He was listed as the number 1 offensive lineman transfers in all of FCS, coming from Rhode Island. He's replacing Big Salah from the previous season. Cornelius is set to have a major role in the O-line this year and brings a ton of experience and leadership that can only help this group. So a nice pickup here. We're talking about Alik Terry coming in, getting that big splash through the transfer portal here with Johnny Cornelius. Now moving on, we got Marcus Harper. When Stephen Jones went down with injury in 2022, it was Harper's time to step up. And he was ready, guys. So ready. He was legit counting down the days. If you guys remember in our interview, he said this, counting down the days since he played some meaningful football snaps. So, man, he got in standing 6'3", 313 pounds. Big Marcus Harper will be a very solid piece to the O-line. And fun fact, guys, we can all thank Marcus Harper for recruiting offensive tackle Johnny Cornelius to Oregon, by the way. It wasn't just Alik Terry. Marcus Harper had a relationship with Johnny Cornelius prior to coming to Oregon, and now he recruits him over here through the transfer portal. What a beautiful thing to see, players getting other players to Oregon, right? Speaking of transfer portal additions, we got Junior Angelau standing at a ginormous. This guy stands at 6'6", 311 pounds. Texas Longhorn transfer Junior Angelau joins the Ducks this year as a new addition via the transfer portal. Angelau can be used like a Swiss Army knife, guys. He can do it all, people. In the 2021 season, he played both sides of the line at guard both sides of the line at guard. He can play left guard and right guard, so put him where you want. In 2022, he didn't play a snap. thanks to injury. Now, his addition is a great add to the O-line as a depth piece and an extra O-line to add in the rotation in case of fatigue, during a long drive or something like that. A huge guy that we can throw in there during the goal line package as well, if you want to keep that goal line package. But, coming off injury, he might need to take it slow, but during midseason, when he's in midseason form, watch out. I mean, this is a big dude that can move, that can play on both sides of the line, experience, played at Texas. Guys know what he's doing. So my thoughts on the position group overall is this position group is, a big question, by the media entering 2023, and for good reason. I get it. You lose out 4 out of 5 starters on that O-line that's tops in the country and protecting their quarterback last season. There's going to be some obvious questions. Can this O-line repeat that same level of efficiency and consistency that the previous group did? They only allowed 8 sacks all year. So that's going to be tough to do. That's going to be tough to match. I don't necessarily think that this O-line needs to be that good, but if they can be anywhere near it, I'm telling you now, if they can be anywhere near that level, that will be vital for the Ducks this season. Oregon's got the returning quarterback with all the weapons around him. Now that O-line must be able to keep Bo Nix on his feet and not get injured. It's vital. I expect them to do well, guys. They did very good getting the additions in the transfer portal. They're bringing guys like Jackson Powers Johnson, Marcus Harper, Stephen Jones. I mean, these guys who have been here, maybe have not been starters yet, but now they look to, finally be that guy. It's time to step up, next man up, right? So I think the O-line will be just fine for Oregon. Let's move on to the tight ends here. Tight ends, after me screaming at the TV over and over again, you guys, when Mario Cristobal was around, he just absolutely refused to incorporate the tight end position in the offense. Offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham came in, blessed us up, and with the tight ends on the roster in 2022, he was adding some passing plays. For the tight ends. I know, can you believe it, guys? Tight ends coach Drew Maringer enters 2023 with a bit of a depleted tight end room compared to last year's. I'm not gonna give it to you. You got it thanks to the transfer portal. Transfer portal can be your best friend. It can be your worst enemy. For this tight end room in specific, it was their worst enemy. But they do return their starting guy, Terrence Ferguson, a.k.a. T. Ferg, baby. And he's right there on the screen for you. Now, the departures I'm talking about that do kind of hurt. And they did play. These players right here that departed, they did play some key roles in the Oregon offense last year. Maliki Mataval, gone. He's gone, but he stayed in the Pac-12. He's going to UCLA soon. We're all leaving to the Big Ten, but yeah, he's going to UCLA with Chip Kelly. Cam McCormick, longtime Duck. This one was sad to see for the fans. Transferred to Miami to go play under Mario Cristobal. So those two guys, they played a lot of snaps last year in Oregon's offense. I couldn't give you a snap count. I usually give you guys statistics on this podcast. I know I love statistics, but you could just see it as an average fan. They were in all the time playing meaningful football, and you lose those two guys. You didn't really add much to the transfer portal. We added somebody. I'll let you know. We got a young guy through the recruiting class. I'll let you know him. But other than that, guys, we're looking, the same tight end room that we had last year, just a little depleted. Starting with, though, positive note, Terrence Ferguson. Leading tight end Terrence Ferguson comes into 2023 as the obvious leader of the group after last year's stellar performance. 32 catches. That was 4th most on the team last season. 391 yards, 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns. That was 2nd on the team, only behind Troy Franklin. A couple of fun facts for you guys about T. Ferg there. Now, when he got to Oregon in 2021, he was listed at 6'5", 230 pounds. Can you guess where he's at now? Guys, he's at 255 pounds now and added 25 pounds of pure lean muscle on his frame. So he's on the verge of cracking the top 10 for catches by an Oregon tight end and has made 1 catch in the last 16 games. Consistency is the name of the game for T. Ferg, and I don't expect that to drop off. Now, he's coming off an injury, all right, so that's we're going to have to see how he comes off that injury, but, man, I don't expect him to drop off at all. This guy got it. Patrick Herbert. Patrick Herbert. Right behind T. Ferg, we got Patrick Herbert. Missed the 2020 season and 2021 season due to injury, but bounced back nicely after last season by appearing in all 13 games for Oregon. Now, not a very impressive statistical output from Herbert with only 6 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown, but he does come with a very valuable needed experience for this year's tight end group. It's going to be interesting to see if the 5th-year junior will be more involved in the Will Stein offense this year. How does Will Stein get him involved? He didn't really have much production. You can't have T. Ferg just do it absolutely all. Comes in with a lot of experience in this offense. I'm sure he'll get a lot of snaps. We need Patrick Herb to step up this year and give us a little more production. A lot of experience, and I think that experience is key because of this guy right here, Kenyon Sadiq. He's a freshman, an early enrollee. He joins the Ducks after officially signing on its 2023 class. Now, he's the smaller player of the bunch, listed at 6'3", 220 pounds. He will definitely need to bulk up as soon as possible with strength coach Wilson Love. More of your pass-catching tight end, Sadiq could see a potential role for himself due to the lack of depth and production at the tight end position. He will definitely need to hit the weights, but his skill and game is polished enough to compete day one, no doubt. I mean, this guy kind of reminds me of Brock Bowers over there at Georgia. I don't want to use his name lightly, but this guy's the modern day tight end, smaller, leaner, kind of like a wide receiver frame, but he plays tight end. And we're going to have to see him bulk up for the college level. But, man, I'm excited to see him. How fast does he get the playbook down is a big key. He's got, Patrick Herbert there with tons of experience to help him out. I have no doubt that Kenyon Sadiq will be something special. This guy, you might want to keep an eye on him. This guy might be freshman player of the year for the Ducks. Who knows? Because if he ends up carving a rollout and being something dangerous, watch out, guys. Next on the Ducks, who we added through the transfer portal, we got Casey Kelly here. Another dip in the transfer portal for position coach Drew Mehringer as they add Ole Miss transfer Casey Kelly to the roster. He's standing 6'3", 255 pounds, and is coming in as a redshirt senior. During his 4 years at Ole Miss, he played in 35 games and caught 28 passes for 282 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kelly's older brother is former Ole Miss and Clemson quarterback Chad Kelly, who attended East Mississippi Community College in 2014. Known for his appearance on the Netflix series, guys. If you haven't watched it, it's excellent. Last Chance U. So, I think Casey Kelly is an experienced college football player that can add, needed depth, while he can also help develop guys like Kenyon Sadiq for the future of this tight end room. Sadiq, T. Ferg, if he goes off, he might be off to the NFL. Patrick Herbert's a senior, right? You got, Kelly, who's a senior here. Sadiq's really the only young guy in this room for the future. So having a bunch of experience in the room is only going to help Sadiq. Kelly's one of those guys. Kelly's, also one of those guys you can throw out there for depth. I don't expect him to get much reps at the tight end position, but hey, if you need him, he's there, and he's played meaningful college football in the SEC. So a good ad there, a good ad. And I think that wraps it up, guys. We hit up part 1 of the offense, okay, on the previous video today, and I'm spoiling you guys to do today. This is part 2. I'm spoiling you guys, man. It's because I love you guys. I love you guys, the viewers. If it wasn't for you guys, this podcast wouldn't be available. We're gonna get onto it on Wednesday. We're gonna do part 1 of the defense. We're gonna preview it. Will I spoil you guys again and give you part 1 and 2 in the same day? Depends on you guys. We need 815 subscribers. We need 25 likes on this video. So if you haven't done it already, go do that. I appreciate you guys, everyone, for tuning in once again. I'm your host, Dominiqk Peterson. This is the Duck Zone 503 podcast, where we talk all things Oregon football, baby. You know what to do, guys. Tune in weekly, Monday and Wednesday. There's new episodes for you. Go Ducks.